Hi everyone. Smooth, almost on time. Thanks for joining me. Let's talk about Gen Con, eh? I feel like I'm low down now. I don't like having me on the side like this. But hey, we've got a great big window coming. Oh, am I mirrored? I don't know, angles and things. Am I coming through to you okay? We're going to talk about Gen Con and stuff, and it's all going to be great. There's loads of games. I think there's about 500 and something games on the Gen Con preview. You can go on Board Game Geek's preview page to find it out. You can, as always, as I tend to do, go on the Tabletop Together tool as well. Yeah, they've got some similarities in the BGG tool and the Tabletop Together tool. But hey, I'm used to the Tabletop Together tool, and I like some of the things that it does. I'm going to share with you the link to my, I don't know if I should do it now or at the end or something. I'm going to share with you the link to the list that I've made on Tabletop Together, because I'm not going to go through every single game. I'm not going to go through every single game that I'm interested in as well. We're going to do a top 10 roughly. No, there's going to be more than 10 games. So there's a list for demo, there's a list for things that you can buy there. There's unfortunately things on the table that I'm going to be playing with the entire time. I'll try and put them out of reach. And we'll also talk about quickly the games that I've already covered. So they're kind of excluded-ish from the list, but I've broken that rule with one of the ones in the top 10 anyway. But yeah, we'll get to that very, very shortly. Thanks everyone for being here. Hey Monica, Lance, James, don't mind. Gemway, who were the first requester of the Gen Con Top 10, which I think, thinking back, is the first top 10 that I ever did for 2016, I think. Yes, eternally, I'm on the outside looking in to Gen Con. I'll go one day, maybe. But yeah, there are so many games there. I'm not, unfortunately, going to be there this year again. But yeah, go in my stead. Forget how jealous I am of you. And yeah, have a great time. And try and look at all of these games. Although, yeah, only if you're bothered, I suppose. If your tastes cross over enough with mine, which I hope they do, of course. Hey, James, back from the pub and settled down with a whiskey coffee. Hey, that's a perfect stance to be in for some Gen Con. Right then, so shall we look at some list things? So when I show you the list, it is right at the top of my list as well, when I give you the link to it. Because that's a great thing that you can do. Maybe you can do it with the BGG thing as well. With the Tabletop Together tool, you can export a list and give everyone a link so they can look at your thing and any notes you've put in. Yeah, I've put some notes on as well for some of the things that we're not going to talk about in depth here, because yeah, there's loads and loads of games. But yes, I should mention as well, you can see them on screen, can't you? Everything that I do is supported by Patreon and Ko-fi. If you'd like to join there and help me out, then yeah, there are links for that in the description, I think. And your support will be massively appreciated. Let's see if we can get the browser to come up, because I need to go here. I need to say, show the browser, please. And then I need to turn the Gen Con picture off. Right, there's a spoiler for some things that will be seen in a minute. From the demo list. There's the list that I'm going to share with you anyway. So yeah, the way that I do it, I ignore is, of course, for games that I ignore. Maybe means you need to go and check up on this when hopefully there's more information added, or a rule book, or yeah, it's just kind of a pen to put a load of games in before I've had a good read of them. Like means games that I've covered in the past. So not necessarily, they weren't good enough to be in the top 10 or anything like that. Just I've already covered them. So maybe I've just done a prototype. Maybe I've done the final thing already. They're ones that I've already covered. Want games that I would be going to look at, whether they're releasing or demoing. They just didn't make the top 10 basically. Need, for the purposes of me making this video, so I'm not necessarily using the tool in a normal way necessarily. Need is just the ones that are going to be in the top 10s. I should say top 10s. But yeah, we'll quickly go through the ones. Hey, Paul Gamer Girl, how's it going? I am not going to Gen Con, unfortunately, but one day we will make it. I've only ever been to Florida, which isn't close enough, I don't think, and not at the right time of year. But one day we'll make it to, it's Indianapolis, right? I'd love to, regardless of the specific place in America. Gen Con looks pretty cool from the outside looking in. And hey Jeff, I hope that I've got some insights to share. Well, I've got games to share at the very least. So quickly, these are games where I won't go too deeply into them because there are overviews and or playthroughs already available on the channel. You can have a search up, and yeah, I didn't have time to paste all the notes in here, and they wouldn't come up in links anyway. All of this stuff, if you're on the Tabletop Together tool and when I share you my list, it's all linked to the BGG pages as well. So, Autobahn was on Kickstarter from Alley Cat Games earlier this year. It is a beautiful game of building the Autobahn, as you might expect. You are upgrading and building new pieces of road that connect to towns and make them more prosperous, and whether you have seats on those various locations will affect how much money they are based on how lucrative they are. It works beautifully. And yeah, you can see my, I did a playthrough for that, didn't I? Buru, I did an overview for. You're trying to win various favours of gods. There's all sorts of kind of majority things going on in various different islands. There was an expansion as well that added a completely different island with completely different gods working in different ways. Carnegie, you haven't seen the playthrough for just yet. On Patreon you have. It is going up on Sunday, I believe. I've done a solo playthrough for this. It's designed by Xavier Georges, who is one of the trio behind Trois, one of my favourite games. And yeah, he makes amazing things, amongst many, many other things that they've done together and apart. Xavier has designed things like Carson City, Wild Wild West worker placement, and Ginkopolis, a very different kind of city building game. I've done playthrough for Ginkopolis. But yeah, this is stepping into the shoes of Andrew Carnegie, and if you play in the solo mode, playing against him in a very beautiful economic game. Yeah, it just works beautifully. It is. I would be surprised if this isn't one of my favourites of the year. Which, you know, it's only well, it's, having said that, it's the end of July now. All of a sudden, somehow, yeah, it's absolutely fantastic, and I hope you'll see it in the playthrough. If you're on Patreon, you can see it now. If not, it's on Sunday. Decorum. Rach and I did a live playthrough of a few of these. It's a scenario-based game, different scenarios for different player counts, and you are passive-aggressive roommates. You are not just going to talk to each other about how you would like to decorate your house. You are just going to be, well, passive-aggressive about it. You have secret cards telling you how you want the house decorated, and on your turn you can make one adjustment to the house, and everyone else just says, I love it, I hate it, I don't care, in some classic passive-aggressive action. And from there you need to deduce, you need to try and get done what you need done based on your card, but you also need to try and work out a bit at least what the other player wants to do. I've only played in two-player, because yeah, they're going to be at odds with you. Your criteria are perfectly compatible, of course, because you'd never be able to win otherwise, but you've got to find a way around. Like, if you can only have, you're trying to make sure that there's no green things downstairs, but the other player needs a green thing on the right hand side of the house, you've got to try and work out how you're going to get around that. It's a lovely deduction game. Dice Theme Park, which I've done a solo playthrough for, and I've done I did an overview for the Kickstarter, and there's a how to play video, the official rules video I've done. That's going to be going up on Monday, but you can see the playthrough in the overview now. It is well, it's not really a dice placement game, it's a dice bouncing game. You have a theme park, you have attractions, the dice are your visitors. Certain attractions need certain combinations of dice, values, colours, odds, evens, that kind of thing. And as they attend these attractions, they will be bounced around to various locations, pipping down as they do so. If you let their pips go down to 0, they're exhausted and they'll leave the park, but you've got various ways and means, mascots, to pep them up and stuff and keep them in there, and it is just an absolutely beautiful game, designed by Adrian Amescu and Daryl Andrews, who, amongst many other things, designed Sagrada, which, yeah, it's... I don't think have I done a playthrough for Sagrada? That might be one of the ones I've missed out on. I think I've asked this several times, and I can't seem to remember. Yeah, that's kind of the thing as well, that I'm kind of like looking out and going, oh yeah, make it to Gen Con one day. But I have gone to Essen a few times. Yeah, depending on where you are in the world, Essen is a much harder one to get to, isn't it? Travel, eh? Why haven't we invented teleportation yet? Hey, Old School Meeple, how's it going? Hey, Mike. First time catching a live stream. I hope it's a good one. I hope it is already. Be the one where it's really hard for you not to binge shop. Yeah, it's hard at Essen as well. There's just so much there, isn't there? Like, and it's kind of full of new hotness and new exciting things that you can only get at Gen Con. You've not been caught up with the buzz for Carnegie. Have you seen the playthrough, James? It might just not be for you. But I'd kind of avoided it because I couldn't afford the Kickstarter at the time. And then when I saw it at the UK Games Expo, I was like, yeah, it looks nice, but yeah, there doesn't seem to be anything special about it. And then I think I put it in the vote for June or something as a kind of caveat that I don't have it yet. Unusually for the vote, I don't have a few of these games. Is there enough interest that I should get the games? And Carnegie, yeah, kind of stormed that vote, I think. And so I got hold of it, and after playing it, I love it. Solo works really well as well. Hi, Mikhail. Wonder what would cost more, the travel and hotel or all the games. I think me traveling to we did, there was some kind of Q&A thing, right? There was some kind of stream where Rage was on. Maybe it was one of the recap streams. And we did go quickly on a airline website and we were checking out how much it would be. The travel and stuff would be a fortune. But then you can kind of see this. So this is just from the games that I like. One of the things the Tabletop Together tool does, games that have a price. Note there are 5 games on this list with no price. All of the games I've previously covered would cost you $787. So I think very, very quickly, unless you have very specific tastes, I think the games would always outweigh how much it would cost for you to get there. And yeah, the cost of everything has gone up. I am in the same room, James, but you are seeing a bit more. This is kind of the first impressions angle, or the current one anyway. Let's try and keep like the browser, give the browser enough space. You don't usually see as much, I suppose, of the room behind me when I'm in that little square. And that door's usually shut, but Marty keeps pushing it open. Marty is here, by the way. I forgot to address the mentions of the Marty cam. He's on the landing. He's not going to stay in one place. He's not going to join us in this room, unfortunately. It is a bit warm. Not as toasty as it has been. Oh yeah, and shipping them back as well would be a pretty massive thing. Like just sending them from Essen when back in the good old days, when we were in the good old EU, it was expensive sending things back then. Never mind the logistics of trying to get that done now. Monica, you're after Eternal Palace and First Rat. Hey, they're going to be on this? Well, you can see Eternal Palace now, can't you? Gemma, you're working booths, so you get a free hotel stay. Yeah, that's a big cost saved, isn't it? Selenia is a big Zen game for me. I still haven't played Selenia. Is that the one where it's like a kind of roll and write, but there's a kind of dexterity flipping kind of element to it? I think that's one I've always meant to get on, but it's eluded me so far. Foundations of Rome. That's that kind of. It's not like a particularly heavy game, is it? But it's kind of a ultra deluxe. Like everything, it's in a great big cube box, and everything's deluxe plastic components. I think if we're talking about the same game, it looks beautiful. Oh yeah, and the Viticulture Wine Crate as well, where it's like the new Viticulture expansion, but then it's storage for the entire Viticulture in a lovely wooden wine crate. Oh, it looks beautiful. I'd be after that as well. Oh, there's been a strike in Norway and people are grounded in their vacation spots. Oh no. So that's always a worry, like, especially with the last couple of years. Part of the reason, apart from things being locked down, part of the reason we haven't gone anywhere is like what if you went there and it locked down again? But hopefully, there's a holiday on the horizon. Touch wood. Yeah, you see in the room at a bigger angle. Hey Hans, how's it going? Selenia is about steering an airship, pickup and delivery, and cards with holes in them. I don't know which game I'm talking about then. Oh, Selenia, yes, of course. That's Sebastien Dujardin, isn't it? It's one of the Trois trio because it's a part of Black Angel, isn't it? I don't know which game I was thinking about. Sonora, thanks Board Game Queens. That's the game I haven't played yet. I have played Selenia. I love Selenia. I apparently don't remember the names of things though. Oh, Foundations of Rome is an entire Kallax cube. That's kind of, I don't know, you can't see the Kallaxes, can you? But they're kind of more and more edging towards, like... Am I above the browser in this? That you could kind of see? I think you can see some shelves. You can't really see too many, but you can see like Euthia up there, there's Thunderstone Quest down there, there's a cube that's like Valeria Card Kingdoms and My Father's Work. Like, the size of games is not that I'm complaining, because they're doing great things with them, but those Kallax cubes, the number of games involved in them is definitely reducing over time, because games are getting huge. Right, where was I? Dungeon Drop. Love Dungeon Drop. Drop Too Deep added co-op. It added a different solo mode. Let me get the right tab open so I can go in here. It's about, there's a load of cubes that represent various elements, walls, enemies, jewels that you might find in a dungeon crawling game. And you drop them on the table, the Dungeon Drop, and where they are, you always had to make a kind of triangle out of wall cubes, and everything that was inside that triangle you could take up on your turn. Now you have to advance between rooms, so it's not just about making a random room every time to try and get the most stuff. You have a physical presence in the dungeon and you have to move around in it. It's absolutely fantastic. Check out that. I've got playthroughs for the original game and the expansion. I think Eternal Palace, designed by Steven Aramini and published by Alley Cat Games. I've got a solo playthrough of this, an overview, and a how to play is on the horizon. Just needs a few tweaks, but it's coming soon. And this is a dice placement game. We secretly make groups out of dice, and there are spots on the board corresponding to all the values of those dice, and you are trying to earn resources, spend those resources to make things, get cards with special powers. Each location has, or most locations have, tracks associated with them, and you're trying to race up those tracks, all in an effort to complete these beautiful paintings. And you make paintings out of these lovely kind of little layers. When you complete a location, you get its layer, and you make a beautiful painting out of it. You can see it in action in the playthrough. It's lovely. First Rat, you can see a 2-player and a solo playthrough on the channel. We are rats. We are racing to be the first rats to get to the cheese moon, and we're making rockets out of baking soda and vinegar. What more do you need to know? It's a really fun and different race game. Gutenberg, I've done a solo playthrough for. It is about the making of the printing press. It's got auction elements. It's got these player boards with this gear system where the gears rotate every round, and depending on which one is showing up is a particular bonus you will get during that round. You're trying to get various letters, various inks to fulfill these quests. Yeah, it is great, and you can see it in action in a playthrough. Longshot the Dice game I did a solo playthrough for. It is a kind of fast-paced racing game where you are betting on a horse race, essentially, but you can also buy the horses, get a stake in them, get more winnings if that horse wins. You can add secondary movement to the horses, so when a particular horse is rolled, the horse you care about will move about as well. And there's loads of sets of horses, loads of different things going on. Really enjoyed it more multiplayer, I think, but the solo is still good as well. My show, I did a solo playthrough for, right? It's a solo and 2-player game. Oh yeah, you can see some of this information that I'm trying to recollect, can't you? It's a solo and 2-player game about we have found ourselves in a kind of medieval tomb and we're trying to find our way out. It's a survival game, and yeah, you're going to find it tough to survive, but hey, you can manage it. I believe in you. Planet Unknown is a game I did a video for its original Kickstarter, but it's running a bit late, but I'm trying to do too many games from the votes, I think. But yeah, Planet Unknown, I have a final copy of, and it did get votes. I don't know when it's going to be. It's probably going to be going up after Gen Con, but I do have a video for the prototype, so you can get the idea. It's a beautiful polyomino laying game. You are trying to terraform, you're trying to build on this unknown planet, and you are trying to cover up various resources to gain them. The tiles have holes in them as well. You're trying to line those up with particular pieces. The game comes on a, I forget the name, Lazy Susan, like a rotating lovely dish full of polyomino pieces. Really fantastic production, and that's, I could say that just about the prototype, never mind the final version. But yeah, more will be coming up for Planet Unknown very soon. Quacks & Co. You can see a trio of races that Rach and I did. This is a spin-off of the Quacks of Quedlinburg, and it's a family game, a children's game, essentially, where rather than, you're still buying chips to put in your bag, But rather than being a push your luck thing where you're deciding how many to draw out and then you might bust, you're just drawing one chit out of your bag every turn, feeding it to your animal. We're racing animals, and based on what it is, it will move you a particular number of spaces and activate an ability. Like Quaxaquedlinburg, every tile, every color of thing has got 2 sides, so you can mix and match sets, make it easier or harder, have a longer or a shorter race. And a sip or two. Yeah, it works beautifully well. Like, it is, as I say, meant for children, like age 6+ on there, although we played it with a 4-year-old and she demolished us. Riverside, fantastic roll and write game from last Essen, right? The first game from Chili Fox Games. We'll be talking more about them in another one of the, in one of the top 10 sections. This is still preliminary. I need to get a move on. Designed by Eilif and Asmund Svensson. And you are trying to do boat tours. Basically, you're trying to see the best things. The boat is an unstoppable force, this cruise liner. It is going to move a certain number of spaces every round. Well, you're not quite sure which number of spaces. An uncertain number of spaces, you might say. And based on the range of where the cruise ship is now, you are trying to line up the decks of your cruise ship that have the most tickets associated with them. You're trying to send those people to the related attractions so you can score the most points. But as was done so well in, like Avenue and Kokoro, and the idea where you need to, which is also designed by Eilif, or co-designed by Eilif, the idea where you need to score more points than the last time. So it's all very well you going in and, with this particular tour, I can get this ridiculous score in there. That's great. But are you limiting yourself from ever being able to score that number again because you need to score better than it or you score 0 for it? So yeah, there's some beautiful restrictions in there as well. Sentinels of the Multiverse Definitive Edition, start of the new run, the new line of Sentinels of the Multiverse. We played it back in the day and kind of enjoyed it, thought it was a bit fiddly, but hey, that was years and years ago. It's all been kind of refined and definitivized. I wouldn't say that we're authoritative enough to be able to point out all the differences and stuff, but I can say that yeah, we really loved the definitive edition, really like how different all of the heroes are, and you've got different heroes you play as, different villains that you fight against, and an environment deck in there that are all mixed together, tons and tons of combinations in the definitive edition. And yeah, seeing how they all play off each other is beautiful. There's still, a lot to manage sometimes. There's better tokens and stuff in there. But yeah, a great experience. Hope to do another playthrough for that at some point. I've done a playthrough for Riverside. There's multiple playthroughs for Riverside. There's a playthrough for Sentinels of the Multiverse. Switch and Signal, fantastic cooperative game. I did a playthrough for, I think, where it's a train game, but you are cooperatively controlling kind of the signals. You're rolling dice to move these trains, so you're not sure quite how much they're moving, but you're trying to get them, there's pick up and deliver going on. You're trying to get them to certain spaces to pick up coloured cubes and to certain exits to get rid of those cubes. But yeah, you're trying to control the signals so that when these trains move, they aren't running into dead ends, which will make you lose an amount of time, and if you lose too much, you lose the game. It's a lovely co-op game. Isle of Cats, there will be all sorts of Isle of Cats there from the City of Games, including the Roll and Write edition. Isle of Cats Explore and Draw, done a playthrough for that. Love Isle of Cats. It's a beautiful polyomino game, and it works beautifully as a roll and write as well, both in multiplayer and its solo form. And the expansions, there's the boat pack, there's extra stuff. There is Kittens and Beasts that add kittens and beasts. There's beasts that you want particular tiles around, but you can only get them very early on in the game. There are kittens that you can get throughout the game, but there's only a limited amount of them, and they will cover up very small spaces on your board, fill in those lovely little gaps. Yeah, just enhance an already great game. Vengeance Roll and Fight, I did a playthrough, an overview for the original Kickstarter. I think I've seen, and been jealous of the people getting their final copies from the Kickstarter. I think it's delivering about now, and it looks like it's going to be available at Gen Con. It is, the idea of vengeance, the Kill Bill, the roaring rampage of Revenge movie. Nearly said it right. Yeah, you're playing through one of those, essentially. Vengeance itself is a fantastic game, designed by Gordon Kalea, but now together with Norley Lovers and David Tortzi, it has been turned into a real-time dice game where we have this collective pool, and it's real-time because you are the faster you are with your dice, re-roll them as many times as you like till you get what you want, but you might get hit and get a side of the dice you don't want. Be as quick as you can with the dice, because the quicker you are, the more dice you can take from this pool. Yeah, it's a beautiful system. I think we played episode 1, but there are 2 separate boxes that you can get for it. And finally, Viticulture World cooperative expansion for Viticulture. Already fantastic worker placement game. With a great solo mode, now adds a brand new dimension with a cooperative mode where we are trying to fulfill various goals. There'll be different events. There are loads of different continents in there that get progressively harder to try and achieve their aims. Each of those continents has will have a different set of cards each time that will be in a different order that will make a big difference as well. But on top of now being a fantastic cooperative game, the solo mode has been there's a new solo mode for the co-op mode. Rather than playing against the Automa, you are playing with, I should have looked this up, I can't remember his name. I keep thinking it's Bertoli. I thought this last time I needed to remember, but it's not Bertolini, it's close to that. But yeah, it's a player that still gets in your way, still messes you up, but it's a player that's working with you. You can share resources, you can share things between you, and yeah, it's a lovely way of doing co-op solo as well. Right, that is the like games. So they're games that I've already covered, but they're going to be at Gen Con, and they have been excluded from the top 10s. I'll get to these top 10s, but I'll catch up with the chat a sec. Yeah, we just need more Cal access. We need those library shelves, like those motorized library shelves that come in and out when you need a game off them. Longshot's great. Planet Unknown's great. Tom Vassal keeps messing up the word polyominoes. Oh, on a list of them. I haven't seen that. Yeah, I think Planet Unknown ran into some problems, but it's here now. And it's looking lovely. I've met Ilif. And Christian. Ilif, in fact, was one of the first, I went to Essen 2016, just barely managed to kind of afford it, and at the very last minute. And I think I'd only been doing this for 6 months, and not, in a huge way. There were probably only a couple of hundred people subscribed to me, but Ilif had seen and liked the videos and was really nice to me. Plenty of people there were, but yeah, Ilif specifically was very, very nice and encouraging very early on. And luckily, it's gone on to make loads and loads of great games that I can keep raving about, from Aporta and from now from Chili Fox Games. Sorry, I have to pause and think for a second because I keep trying to call it Chill Fox Games, but it is meant to be Chili Fox, and the Magnificent's beautiful as well. Great game with a great expansion as well. Hey Michael, late to the stream. Well, you haven't missed the top 10s. I am not going to Gen Con, unfortunately. I'm just wishful thinking, but it's at the behest, at the request of viewers of GMWay, who is in the chat as well. I'm going through the games, and this will help. Some of these will be on the Essen list as well. You didn't like Switch and Signal, James? I don't have it anymore, unfortunately, but that's kind of space is the reason for that. It was one of the heartbreaking decisions when we had the last cutback a few months ago now. It seemed like it was a few weeks ago. Where's everyone gone? Oh, the chat's skipped down. I can't see anything. Yeah, I had to go to Essen to see Aporta and everything. Mikhail. Oh, there's a Norwegian event. Hey, Kane Klenko. Thanks for joining in. Kane Klenko, the designer of many, many things, but new. Is Fuse on the preview, Kane? I'm unfortunately not going to be at Gen Con. I would love to be. It isn't on there and I've missed it, is it? I don't think it's on the preview list. But yeah, coming up, let's get this... let's open Autoborn in a BGG page. because I will not. Is it on? Is it on thingy at all? I've seen the announcement posts to it. There is a new, like, it's a standalone Fuse game. It isn't on here, but hey, it'll be on here at some point. I'll just take an opportunity to tell you about Fuse. Subscribe to Fuse and look out for the news of the new Fuse countdown. But if you haven't played it, Fuse is one of our favourite. Well, I was going to kind of qualify that and be like favourite short games, favourite filler games, favourite real-time games, but I'm just going to say favourite games. It's probably still, even after all these years, our most played game of all time. Like, back when I logged plays, we logged like hundreds of plays of it, partly because it's a 10-minute game. There's a hard and fast timer on that, but it's beautiful dice placements, real-time bomb defusing experience, and there is a new standalone game in the Fuseverse coming out. And you should play Flatline as well, because it's like a longer board game version. Well, thematically comes after Fuse. I will get onto Gen Con things then. Don't worry about that. Fuse is on your list that you've never gotten around to trying, Tyler. I hope you get a chance. There's a new kind of. I don't think it's a new edition. It's just got a new cover now, right? That's the cover that I've got. It has changed a bit, I think. I don't know why I'm focusing on this. Because if you see it in a shop, it looks a little bit different than that now. But yeah, if you see it in a game cafe, or there's what it looks like now. Or similar, same logo and stuff. Hey, it's Rado's top 10 of 2015. New logo. No, I'm not saying get rid of Rado's. There's space for. I'll make you a logo. Top 10 of all time. I wasn't trying to one-up Rado with that declaration. But yeah, it's available. It's fantastic, and there's new stuff coming. I would highly, highly, highly recommend it. Hey Compy, this is Tabletop Together. There is an official Board Game Geek preview tool that you can use to log all your things, and it's got some similarities, there's some differences between them, but this is tabletoptogether.com/tool. You can make an account on here, and yeah, it's got loads of different conventions. I was doing it in a stream a few weeks ago to start the Essen preview. But yeah, this is Peter, who is now the designer of one of the games we're going to be talking about in a minute. Spoilers. Created this wonderful tool that you can use at many, many different conventions. We used to collaborate on a UK Games Expo list that I used to do, and he imported it into this tool back in the good old days. Well, these are still good old days, but yeah, and to be honest, some of the days weren't so good making that list. But anyway, time moves on. Tabletop Together. Let's not get into that. Are you after Automania, Genway? I haven't seen that for a long while. It's great. James, Paul has GridCon. We need TomCon. I can't imagine trying to organise any kind of events. Organising the live streams is hard enough sometimes. Making sure that switches at the right time, you'd be surprised. Yeah, I don't know. The mind boggles just Paul running GridCon. I find it hard enough to get to conventions, never mind ignore them. But ignore them, organise them. I find it hard enough to say words. But I'm going to be at GridCon. It's our other event this year. And Rachel's going to be there as well. Swedish events. And you'll have Fuse as well. Good, I'm glad. Okay, and it won't be there for sale, but you'll be demoing it. So, right. We're adding a game. I will get to now. This is going to be the top. I think there's more than 10 because I couldn't narrow it down to 10. This is going to be the top games to go and demo at Gen Con. And they're, as with the recent top 10s, rather than agonising about the particular position of everything, it's just in alphabetical order. I've done enough narrowing it down to like 12 or however many there are, but if we were ranking them, Fuse Countdown, like it hasn't got a page and stuff yet, but there is new stuff for Fuse. Let me see if I can quickly find like the announcement of it. Was it a BGG post? Was it just on Twitter or something that I saw it? Are you just telling me about Fuse? Oh, my Googling isn't working too well. Previews World. Oh, it's a catalogue just telling us that a new thing is coming. Well, this short notice. I'm glad you reminded me though, Kane. Well, I didn't know it was going to be at Gen Con. But yes, this is where I would be heading straight for. Is this coming up on the screen? I can't see the screen changing. Yes, it's coming up. So yes, Fuse Countdown, standalone expansion. All the fast-paced gameplay from Fuse is back with a standalone expansion, can be used by itself or combined with the original game, still only takes 10 minutes to play, cooperative real-time intense gameplay with new dice and bomb cards, a new card type and unique player roles. In shops November the 2nd. Unfortunately, there's, going by, usually there's a delay getting things to the UK, but so it may be 2023 for us. Maybe Renegade will be at Essen with it. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go to Essen though. Oh yeah. Either way, like let's not make it completely about me. There is a new Fuse coming out. It was one of the very early playthroughs, so apologies if it's a bit rough. I did do a solo playthrough for Fuse, and we didn't manage to fit it in to a recent stream. But Fuse is about here that I've been trying to do another one because I think it's time to re-highlight it. But Fuse Countdown will probably do that. I'll keep raving about it. It's fantastic. Hopefully the playthrough will show you that. Okay then. So there is one of the games. That's going to be available to demo at the Renegade Games booth. And then the other demos that I would be going for. Kind of similar in their entries here because they are the City Collection. The Steffenfeld City Collection. That's coming from Queen Games. We talked about this a bit in the Essen preview, but in case you weren't there, let's assume you weren't there. There's some new games, there's some re-implementations of classic, old, long out of print Steffenfeld games that have been changed up. I'm not sure exactly how, but basically, love Steffenfeld games. Macau is one of my favourites and has been out of print longer than I have been playing board games in this phase anyway, whatever cinematic phase this is of my board game. And in the last kind of 8-9 years, it's always been out of print as far as I know. My copy is a damaged Dutch copy that I pasted up from files on Board Game Geek. Thanks whoever made those files. You made it possible for me to play Macau. But yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic game, and it's got solo added to it now as well. So it's going to be coming, and I think the downside of us not being on the preview page here is that the preview page tells us, now these are all for demo, aren't they? Yeah, these aren't going to be out. I think it's listed as it's going to be available to buy at Essen. So far, who knows? Things could change by there, but it is on the list for release at Essen. But yeah, they are. I don't know if it's only because I think there's normal and special deluxe editions. So I don't know if it's the deluxe editions because they were listed as €100. But hey, as I say, who knows? They're there to play though. You can go to Queen and play Amsterdam. As I said though, they're in alphabetical order, so we will be switching from the Steffenfeld City Collection over to Come Together. Speaking of Chili Fox Games, publishers of Riverside that we were just talking about, this is a game, and we'll talk about mechanics and stuff, but this is a game where you are making a 60s music festival and trying to basically make people the happiest, make people enjoy music the most. It's Isla and Asmund, designers of Riverside, along with Vergod. I do apologise. I shouldn't be on a picture trying to read your name properly. It was too white on my monitor. Vergod, Eliasson Stillerud. I apologise about my pronunciations. So yeah, we are trying to make a music festival. There's a new generation of young people. Forget all the other 60s. The Beatles were around. Just invite them. They'd sort it all out. They sorted themselves out, kind of. Hey, watch Get Back. Another plug for that. You're organising a festival using volunteers to attract an audience and the hottest artists, build stages and camps and gain publicity to make your festival the best of all time. It's a worker placement game with a special twist. When you place workers, you don't gain the card you just claimed. You have to wait until someone activates that location, which activates it for everyone who put their worker on it. Players are constantly facing the important dilemma of whether to claim a card or activate a location. Timing of the activation can be crucial. Another dilemma is whether to claim the card you really want or a less attractive card to gain more publicity by joining players that are already gathering on there. But yeah, you can see some art so far. The delay on this screen's putting me off. But yeah, you can see some of the lovely artwork, some of the lovely kind of references, parodies. I don't know how you would term them. But yeah, loving the theme. Hey Marty, is sunbathing elsewhere? No, they're not. Yeah, the city games will be available to demo at Gen Con. Maybe they'll be able to buy at Essen, but we'll have to see, won't we? TomCon. Yeah, Marty is sunbathing elsewhere. He may have gone down now. Yeah, you can get shirts and stuff. Thanks, James. Woodstock the board game. Kind of essentially, yes. But a Woodstock with Elton John there. So yes, Come Together is going to be available at the Chili Fox Games booth, which is the Speedy Meeple booth. We should always switch over to this one. Surfing Meeple, not Speedy Meeple. Yeah, booth 2213. Yeah, I've been saying this for a long time as well. There's party games tend to be more having the music theme, but there's not a lot that I can really name. Tend to always come back to thrash and roll. Endless Winter was a massive Kickstarter. It's designed by Stan Kordonsky. Sorry, I can't speak. Who designed, amongst many other things, Dice Hospital with Mike Nudd, and designed Shadow Kingdoms of Valeria, loads and loads of things at this point. And one of the things about, you can see all of these things, it's developed by Johnny Pack as well, who has designed, amongst other things, Lions of Lydia. I think this was a big Kickstarter. I don't think that, I know that. This is kind of in the process of being shipped. I think it is with people to be making rules videos and stuff, but like the actual Kickstarter shipping is started and in the way. It sounds like it's got so many elements in it. I regret not backing this as well. I couldn't afford it at the time. And maybe we wouldn't be able to afford it now. I can't remember how much it was. But yeah, it's got like, it seems like it's got, when you put all of these mechanisms out, it's just going to take me to a different page. It is. But yeah, it's got so many beautiful Euro-y things. You know, it kind of, we'll see in the playing of it. Does it manage to bring all of these things together? But hey, I'm optimistic about all of these things. It's got worker placement, it's got deck building, it's got area majority, it's got all of these different effects and phases and stuff, it's got hand management, it's got it all. Loads of interwoven systems and mechanisms like multi-use card, area influence, tile placement, and set collection. There's so much going on. Yeah, it's prehistoric themed, there are loads of different expansions and stuff. It is a beautiful kind of, oh whoops, what have I clicked there? It's a beautiful kind of deluxe Kickstarter-y kind of thing. It looks very beautiful. And yeah, you can go have a look at Gen Con. At Endless Winter, Paleo Americans come in from Fantasia Games. I believe it's at the Asmodee booth. It's at an Asmodee booth. I imagine there's a lot of them. Battle of the Bards. I haven't played that. So I was saying, I don't think I've played it. First in Flight. I keep meaning to watch. Ricky Royal has done a solo playthrough of this, and it's on my watch list, my eternally growing watch list. I'll get to it eventually. This is a push your luck. I'm just reading things off it now. It's a push your luck deck building game about, you know, the beginnings of Flight. Oh, you are the Wright brothers as well, and each of your different kind of planes that you're making are the deck that you are building throughout of it. And they might have unknown design flaws. But the thing that really hooked me as well, the hook already was, Ricky Royal's done a video about a solo mode in something. That means it's worth checking out. But also, it's a blackjack style challenge to test a design, break new records and gain experience, hopefully without crashing. Then players head back to the workshop to refine their flyers and improve their chances on future flights. There are dozens of available technologies, pilot skills and friends in the field available for players to customize their own playstyle and strategy. It looks great. Funny wish list, nice. Jackie Fox, ex-bass player in The Runaways, is designing a music-themed game and is going to show it at Gen Con called Rock Hard 1977. Oh, is that on? Spell things properly. I don't think it's on BGG yet. But yeah, that sounds cool. First in Flight. Fit to print, which hopefully, fingers crossed, we're doing something for in the future. Designed by Peter McPherson. Artist by Ian O'Toole. Not art by Ian O'Toole. and published by Flat Out Games, fresh off their win for Cascadia. Spiel des Jahres. I mean, I don't want to sound like a hipster about it, but I told you it was great. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you have played it since and have enjoyed it a lot. But hey, I feel like, oh, I played that when it was a prototype. It's great, isn't it? But fit to print as well. We are making out of... we're playing a puzzly tile-laying game about making headlines and stuff. We're making the newspapers, basically. We are putting the front pages together out of this. We're the editor at one of the local newspapers. The front page is due in just a few hours and you have no time for perfection. Grab the big stories before the other players get a chance and make sure you get the right photos too. A newspaper is a business, so the money has to come from somewhere. Don't forget the ads. After you've picked out a combination of stories, photos and ads, it's time to lay out the front page. Did you take enough tiles to fill the paper? But not so many that things have to be cut. Over the course of 3 hectic days, your skills will be tested as you compete to be the most newsworthy editor. I like games where we're racing stuff and then we have to shout something out as well. You have to shout layout when it's all done. There aren't many pictures of the components and things yet, but yeah, going off the cover and the fact that ENO Tool is involved and tongue-tying me for some reason. Yeah, got very, very high hopes for Fit to Print. Frostpunk, another big Kickstarter. This is kind of based off... Well, I hadn't played the video game, actually, until the board game was kind of announced. Yeah, and then I got a code and never got hold of the prototype or anything to play with. But hey, I played the video game. It is a very tough city-building survival game. Yeah, really enjoyed... Not that I was ever good at, but really enjoyed my time failing at the video game. And this is an adaptation of it in board game form, complete with, you know, lovely Kickstarter-y minis and the beautiful town that we are building. You know, similar in, well, it's an adaptation of the video game. There is a town full of people. They need things. You cannot provide the things. You're going to have to make tough decisions constantly to try and forge a path ahead. Or, as happens a lot to me in the video game, they all get fed up of you and decide someone else should be in charge instead. Yeah, the citizens won't just be speechless pieces on the board. Society members will issue demands and react accordingly to the current mood, so every decision and action bears consequences. The thing that I love about this as well, I don't think the video game was, but the board game is cooperative. So I love taking that thing and turning it into a cooperative, collaborative thing as well. Yeah, really, really looking forward to that. And I would be going right over to check out a demo of it. Great Western Trail, Argentina. Great Western Trail is fantastic. As we learned, or as I learned anyway, in the Essence stream, it's not just, you know, Great Western Trail and it's got some different art or some different theming or just a couple of extra things. There are a load of extra gameplay elements as well. Of course, the main thing is it's Great Western Trail, but on top of that, there is new stuff, new ways to use your cows, the strength on your cow cards to help farmers, getting them on your side, grain, a new type of resource that can be an income, and it's used on boat and city tiles, shortcuts that can get you to the target Buenos Aires more quickly. Yeah, it looks like a great experience, and Great Western Trail is absolutely fantastic anyway. This hasn't made the top 10, but, well, this has made the top 10 demos. The thing I'm about to say hasn't made the top 10 yet, but Great Western Trail Rails to the North, the expansion, is getting a second edition, which will be available at Gen Con, according to the preview. You know, that might change in the future, or if you're actually there. But yeah, it was a fantastic expansion that made a great game even better. And yeah, the second edition came out and was all lovely, but didn't have that expansion in yet. It's going to have that expansion in. Next up, start closing these tabs so you can get to the other ones. Back to the Steffenfeld City Collection, Hamburg is the new edition of Bruges, implementing as well the little expansions and stuff. Well, not a little expansion. Bruges has a big expansion with some various modules that you can include, and a little expansion which was that was the animals, right? That was the best part of Bruges. Bruges had some great pieces. Yes, your pets. You could get a cat. Yeah, Bruges was a fantastic multi-use card game, and still is if you can get it. It's another one that's been out of print for quite a while. A lovely multi-use card thing where you're trying to build up influence, have all these people in front of you, you need houses for them to live in, you're trying to progress along the canals, you're trying to build these things out, you're trying to avoid threats. There'll be threats coming out from the game itself, and also kind of the negative for us with Bruges was always that there's a ton of cards in this game, but a good enough chunk of them were quite mean cards, and we would always just kind of ignore those and pretend another card came out instead. But yeah, it's one that we generally wouldn't want to just play with other people, because it would be a bad time for us. Another one, as with all of these games, solo has been added. It's not just Bruges. I think things have been tweaked, so it's not just a straight reprint. Things have been added onto it as well, but basically it's a fantastic game that has been re-implemented with some moderate rules enhancements and new content and stuff as well. Yeah, can't wait for it. It's going to be available to demo. This whole thing is demoing. Jurassic World, The Legacy of Isla Nublar. I've not seen the Jurassic World films. I do apologise. Hey, I saw the Jurassic Park ones though. They were good, weren't they? But this is a cooperative legacy game by Prospero Hall, which is like a collective of designers that have designed some fantastic things over the years. They have kind of turned around the idea that, oh, it's a licensed game, then it's not going to be any good. Well, look at this list. Like, as I said, it is kind of a pseudonym for a collective of designers rather than a specific designer. But yeah, you can look through their things. I think starting with the first one I played was Bob Ross Art of Chill game. Lovely, lighter game, but beautiful encapsulation of the feeling of Bob Ross. The choose your own adventure games, so much stuff, loads and loads of Disney games and stuff. Yeah, there's their CV for you. But they are taking on it sounds like a park building Jurassic Park game that goes through a load of chapters. We are taking on the role of all the people from the film. I was just thinking we were taking on the roles of John Hammond. But yeah, we are taking on the roles of many people from the film, each playing a vital part in the island's legacy. Together you will transform Isla Nublar into an astonishing paradise where awestruck visitors encounter creatures never before seen by human eyes. Decide where to build park facilities, dinosaur enclosures, and guest attractions, and keep employees safe from the mighty Tyrannosaurus Rex, colossal Brachiosaurus, clever Velociraptor, and other threats. You play through 12 adventures in which you customize an entirely unique game board and breed new dinosaurs you cannot unmake. Your team's fateful choices will have a lasting impact, creating your own Isla Nublar story. Your experience will culminate in an endlessly replayable game of your own creation. I'm on board with Legacy, especially when co-op's involved. And yeah, this building your own Jurassic Park throughout a Legacy experience sounds great. That's going to be available to demo at Gen Con. Looking forward to it. There's a short video of Fit to Print. Oh, it's just a photo. Oh, but you see more stuff on it. I played the original thing yet. So Jurassic Park and Jurassic World is good. You didn't like Jurassic Park 3 much. I don't even remember Jurassic Park 3. I've definitely seen it, but I couldn't tell you a single thing that happens. I could vaguely tell you bits about the Lost World, but I could tell you a lot about Jurassic Park. Watched that the most though, and it's the best one in it, really. Oh, Dice Tower have done a playthrough of it, but it didn't seem that good. Well, I'll do a great playthrough of it and make it look amazing. Maybe it's not going to be that good. But yeah, I live in hope. Kinfire Chronicles Night's Fall. This is designed by... Why isn't the browser telling me all of the designers of it? It's designed by Kevin Wilson. This is how it came to my attention, who has designed, among many other things, such heavy hitters as Arkham Horror, the 2nd edition. Descent, Journeys in the Dark, the 2nd edition. He designed the Citizen Society quite recently. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, the Batman animated series game he's done more recently, as well as Daryl Hardy, Adela Capuskina, and Brandon Perdue. I don't know why I'm looking in the forums. Hey, let's look at any rule questions people have got on it. But no, it's only just been announced, I think. This is a quest-based cooperative RPG game. I'm on board basically from that, but it also looks like it's got a lot of emphasis on the story. There's a load of stuff. It says between here, it plays as a... We're fighting to push back the darkness, threatening to change and destroy the world of Atios. The game plays as a campaign of 15 plus quests. Each one takes about 45 to 60 minutes. You can expect to make choices relating to adventures, battles, NPCs to speak to, and more. These choices create a branching story in the game, allowing the entire campaign to be replayable. We have adventuring, battle, and exploration. In adventuring, we make choices based on options presented by quest cards. We need to accomplish something, like crossing a river or chasing down a suspect. By flipping the right number of cards from our decks, then we battle, enemies on a physical map, and then after we've done all of the stuff, the game doesn't end if we don't achieve the objectives, but it will affect the later gameplay that we play out. And then lastly, we can return to the city in exploration to speak to NPCs, level up our characters, and all of that stuff. I'm into it. I mean, you could describe a lot of games like that, but I think the pictures look pretty cool. I've got a lot of faith in Kevin Wilson. And yeah, looking forward to Kinfire Chronicles. You have Dinogenics and Apex Theropod. There are ones that I've looked at. I think when I tend to look at them, they tend to be out of stock. But yeah, I am keen on playing more dinosaurs. We did play a friend's copy of Tiny Epic Dinosaurs. I wasn't so keen on that. Multiplayer, at least. I've never played it solo. But I did enjoy Welcome to Dino World. It's a great roll and write game. It is... What else was I going to say? Oh, we played, is it Dinosaur Island as well? That was kind of cool, but not a keeper for us, unfortunately. But the thing where you had to be setting up the buildings and the dinosaurs were already on the island. Oh, so you're like building the park around them. That's strange. But hey, if surely Dr. Ian Malcolm has got the charm to be able to tell those dinosaurs to go wherever he likes. Marrakesh is the new game here. Oh dear. Marrakesh is the new game that will be... There we go. That will be part of the City Collection. And yeah, it's a Stefan Feld game. There's a cube tower involved. It's not a re-implementation of Amerigo, though. And yeah, really, it's just on here. It's part of the City Collection. It's designed by Stefan Feld. Although have been, a bit grumpy about maybe some of the more recent games, or they've just not been my thing. They've just not gelled with me as much. Hey, I think if you've made as many games that I adore as much as Stefan Feld, they go straight on here. So yeah, play over 3 rounds. Each round has 4 turns. I don't know why I'm reading those bits out. You place matching colour assistants from behind your player board, perform corresponding action, and then they're all placed in the cube tower. Then in turn order, select a colour and take 1 to 2 of the cylinders that have passed through the tower and place them on your player boards, and they're the future actions that you get. Oh, cool. Well, yeah, based on Amerigo as well, I trust Stefan Feld with a cube tower. So yeah, looking forward to Marrakesh. And then straight on to the next entry in the City Collection. I think this is all of them, right? But yeah, this is New York City, which re-implements Rialto, which I didn't play that much. I remember enjoying it, but I think the 2-player mode, there was a lot of was there kind of area influence and stuff involved in it? I remember the cover a lot, because mine had a big tear in the middle of it. But the 2-player mode, at least, it involved like a dummy player and stuff, and Rich isn't a big fan of dummy players in games generally. But yeah, this is another re-implementation of Rialto, and the same kind of thing. It's it doesn't say it here, but it's going to be... I imagine there's going to be a bit of new content. It's going to tweak the rules a little bit. Yeah, just more Stefan Feld will be available to demo. Peter Pan is coming from Matago, designed by Mark Paquin, and it is basically a cooperative deduction game where we are trying to find the lost children, right? But it looks like, I don't know if there's going to be limited communication and stuff between the players, but we've got like a hand of clue cards that say where they are, and we have to play them on other players' boards and place that clue on a scale of relevance. So I don't know how we're going to know how relevant the clues are. I imagine, well, playing the game will tell us that, but you can go to Gen Con and find out for me, because yeah, there isn't that much information available on it yet. I really like the idea of the theme. I thought at first that it was like going to be a re-implementation of Treasure Island or something, which was a great idea from Matago, but it isn't. It's his own thing. It's different. I don't know why I thought that, really. I thought like maybe there'd be a player playing as Captain Hook and everyone else would be, Peter Pan and the lost children and stuff, trying to find the way out, trying to find the crocodile. I don't remember the names of things. I'm sorry, childhood me. I don't remember them anymore. I'll watch them again one day, I'm sure. But yeah, Peter Pan sounds cool to me. Starship Captains. Here is where we are talking about Peter B. Hofgaard, the designer of Starship Captains, but also the creator of Tabletop Together tool, which we were looking at earlier to class all of the stuff. You can do it in the BGG tool, of course. Feel compelled to say that every time. But he is an official, soon-to-be-published game designer, which I'm really excited about. This is a game, a love letter to sci-fi TV shows full of arty references. And we are basically these Starship captains. We have our own ship. We have our own crew on there. Certain class of crew go to certain spaces and activate their actions. And we are roaming around space. I don't know if we've got have we got a good gallery? Oh yeah, it's 28 images. We've got to be able to find a picture where we can show you some of this stuff. So it's, prototype components, asterisk on there. But here is your spaceship. You have your available people in the bottom here. And there's a nice little component thing where as you use your people, they go to the back of your spaceship, and then you push the people around the little curve until there's a few employees that you can't use each round, so the last ones you use that round aren't going to be available next round. It's got a lovely little worker thing in there, but we are roaming around space, doing missions, achieving objectives. So a nice picture of I need to go find my UK Games Expo pictures of it. We're roaming around space here, and you can see there are objective cards out here. You want certain combinations of staff to be spent on there to get big rewards. There are a load of factions you can get influence with as well. But all of this is played in, I want to say our 3-player first game, a demo game at the UK Games Expo, was under 90 minutes. It is a really speedy, fun, but quite thinky as well, trying to plan out who you need available, when you need to do these actions, because you've got to try and think of the availability of your workers for next round, but also you're trying to think, as with a lot of games, is that thing still going to be there if I plan this out for next round? Do I need to do this thing first? It's going to put me in a worse position with the workers that I've got available, but the thing might not be there in a minute. I have played this one, and we absolutely loved it in prototype form. Things subject to change. And then finally, in my demos, I'd be rushing to check out Weirdwood Manor. That is another one that I had not seen before the Gen Con preview. Designed by Mike Cassie and published by Grey Ridge Game. Work together to battle time and malevolent monsters in a magic ever-shifting manner. If you haven't guessed, I really like co-op games. And, as you will see in the My Father's Work playthrough, I like kind of doing new things. I like I don't know if this necessarily is, well, it is kind of horror themed, isn't it? We're going into a manor full of monsters. Cooperative board game that marries great adventure gameplay with Euro-inspired underpinnings. I like it. As you and your group of valiant companions battle to protect Weirdwood Manor and its enigmatic ruler, Lady Weirdwood, from an invading fey monster and his clockwork scarab minions. We've got our own decks of cards. The monsters have got their own custom decks of cards. It looks like it's got beautiful components and stuff. It's real time. I love real time. And yeah, I don't know a lot about it beyond that, but it's got beautiful art, beautiful components. I love the theme. I love co-op games. And yeah, I hope Weirdwood Manor makes it over here pretty quickly. Weirdwood Mansion. Maybe that's it's like the alternate reality version of it. Weirdwood Mansion full of butterflies and unicorns. So there we go. They are the games, I think there's a bit more than 10, that I would most be rushing over to go and demo at Gen Con 2022. Note this, time down. I can't, it doesn't work like that. I've got to do the chapters afterwards, haven't I? To separate these all out. So they are not going to be able to purchase, but according to the preview, you can go and demo them. And I will be linking in the description my full list so you can see, where all of the booths are going to be, and they'll all be linked to the BGG pages so you can go and find out more info. For some of these games, there might be more information available by the time you click on it, because there's still just over a week to go, right? It's next weekend, Gen Con. It's soon. So these are now the top 11. I know it's supposed to be top 10, but there's one in there that's breaking the rules. It is going to be quite early on. There should be 10, because I've broken one of the rules of putting in a game that I have technically covered. It hasn't been on the channel yet, but you'll see. First off, kites. The delay's putting me off on that monitor. We played this at the UK Games Expo as well. This is a beautifully simple, I don't mean that in a bad way, beautifully elegant cooperative game designed by, don't forget these bits, designed by Kevin Hamano and published by Floodgate Games. This is a fast-playing cooperative game where we have cards of various kites that have one or two colours on them. And they are going to relate to different sand timers that are out there. And it's basically a very, very fast game. We flip these sand timers at the start, and the aim of the game is to stop them running out. So they've all got different lengths as well. There is a wild card white sand timer. No colour corresponds to that. Well, every colour corresponds to it, really. And we all have the deck split into our hands, and you've got to play a card on your turn, draw another card. You're trying to get through the entire deck. And when you play a card, all of the colours of sand timers that it relates to are flipped. The aim of the game, stop those sand timers running out. So, of course, in an ideal world, you're playing cards that just relate to the timers that are about to run out. Flip them, it's all great. Plenty of time, though. You are forced to flip timers that you don't want to flip because they're just the only cards that you've got. So you've got to coordinate between the players and work out, we've only just flipped red, so if I flip it again, it's about to run out. Have you got a red where you could do that, or should I do this different colour? All in real time and within the span of less than 10 minutes. It is a beautiful game. It is one that you feel like, well, surely this would exist. But yeah, it does now. And yeah, from our little couple of demos at the UK Games Expo, absolutely adore it. Definitely needs to be in here. I mean, yeah, speaking as a Fuse fan, it's not dice-based and it's not doing exactly the same thing. But in terms of a 10-minute real-time, stressful but beautiful game, artwork by Beth Sobel as well. Yeah, it's definitely one I'm going to be grabbing. Yeah, the Streamlabs thing for the spam is really annoying because it kind of just highlights if you put Streamlabs in a timeout, it kind of highlights the people that I'm muting, unfortunately. Has it not got solo? Oh, that's a shame. Maybe that could be worked out at some point, but I suppose, like, you would just have to get the cards yourself. I don't know. I'm sure it could be worked out in some way. People cleverer than I. But yeah, Fuse does work solo, and that's a good plus. But yeah, we played kites, 2-player, up to 6 players it goes up to. Yeah, definitely be grabbing kites whenever it makes its way over here, because I'm not going to Gen Con, unfortunately. Next up, here is the asterisk. I know I've got this, I've played it, and I said that all the games that I've covered are in the like section. But I feel like it deserves highlighting, partly because, well, you could say this about a lot of those other games as well. I've broke my own rules, I know, sorry. Probably because I'm a bit giddy about it at the moment. My Father's Work is a game where we are siblings. We are the children of a mad scientist who had a lot of grand experiments that they never got to finish in their lifetime. So we intend to carry out our father's work. I intend to carry out my father's work. This is a big, there's worker placement involved. There is a ton of story told in a gothic horror style. And what? Oh dear. We need more features on here. I could put the chat into subscriber mode, but it seems like a shame for anyone that just pops in. But yeah, it gets to be a problem at this time of day, unfortunately. YouTube's telling me that this would be a good time to insert ads. I don't think it would. My Father's Work, back to that. Forget the realities of chat boxes. So yes, it's full of story in a really nice gothic horror style. As I say in a preview of my first impressions that will be coming in the coming weeks. Yeah, I can't say that I have read Frankenstein or Dracula or anything like that recently, many years ago. But yeah, it really feels like that kind of style. Sometimes told with a kind of in a bit of a parody sense. Not always, but sometimes, you know, it's got a nice wry sense of humor that I appreciate as well. It's a proper, like, bespoke deluxe production as well. Like, it's not going to go into general production. So this was a Kickstarter. It is going to be available, but I think just from Renegade's website. Like, it's going to be available at conventions as well, but it's not going to generally be in shops. So all of this that you see here, metal coins, the metal gears, the printed meeples and all of that stuff, the game trays, that's all as standard. People have, you know, done great things with kind of epoxy and stuff, you know, making the things look like lovely experiments in the bottles, putting like little eyeballs and stuff in there, and it's got the minis for everyone that puts in there, minis for all of your workers, and you can, I've painted them actually. I haven't got a picture of my painted ones. I'm not a great painter, but yeah, you can see kind of stuff. Someone's put glitter in them there. I've got, inspired by, I haven't done it yet, I want Rach to do it. Rach is a primary school teacher, so she'll be more experienced with putting sand in things. I've got some coloured sand that I think I'm going to put in my copy. But yeah, it's I'm going to go on for ages about all these games, aren't I? So that'll be quick. Yeah, it's combining all of this this story and theme with essentially worker placements, but the worker placement board itself is a book. You turn to different pages of the book based on different things you did in the game, different choices that you made in the story. You know, sometimes we'll be asked to make choices. Sometimes those choices will be made just by visiting certain places and then maybe making a choice when we go there. Or maybe, oh, we told you this thing was here and nobody ever did anything with it. So now this thing's happened in the story. Trying to be vague and not spoil anything in there. There are 3 big scenario boxes in there, each with a box full of components that you aren't necessarily going to use. But because it's got loads of branching paths and stuff, there are 8 endings to the 2 scenarios that I've played. The third one, I assume it's got a load of endings and stuff to unlock. But I hopefully will put this better in the first impressions video that is coming up. But I've really enjoyed it. It's long. There is a lot of story in there, and I've seen people kind of that weren't expecting that were maybe not pleased with how much was in there. But hey, I've played and loved Medora, and the 30-40 minutes interludes that sometimes exist in there. But yeah, My Father's Work isn't that much. Maybe there's like, I don't know if there was ever even 15 minutes of story. There's not tons. I know, like, if you weren't expecting it, it might seem like a lot. But yeah, it is really immersive, and it's told in like a style that some people haven't appreciated as well. But as I said, it's like kind of true to its gothic horror roots. But yeah, I think it is a really interesting and different example of doing this kind of storytelling in a game, because it's not necessarily, as much as I love kind of the choose your own adventure paragraph flipping of many games of, say, role player adventures. You know, you are doing the dice manipulation and all that stuff, and then we are doing we're skipping to various chapters, and in a way Sleeping Gods does that a bit, but there is, you know, a game, there's a separate mini game of the combat, and then there's the overarching, you know, do some exploring and then we will come and do some story stuff. I think that although maybe in the experience so far, you know, a lot of the story is told kind of at the beginning, in between rounds, that kind of section. But I think it is a lovely marriage between the two things. You're not necessarily doing everything because it will trigger some story things. You are playing a game and story is integrated into it. For making this like clear, really. But yeah, it's kind of the things are feeding off each other. You are not just, you know, turning to a new thing in there. There is, you know, the town is going to be altered. Sometimes the choices that you make aren't going to be very obvious what you are, you know, doing short term, but later on you play over 3 generations of these characters, and later on the thing can really surprise you in a load of ways. Just with the limited play so far, like I played it, including the playthrough, 4 times now, which I know doesn't sound like a lot, but it's that 180-minute playing time is not joking. It is a big, long game. But yeah, if any of that intrigues you at all, there will be, you can see it on Patreon now. It's coming up next week on the main channel, the first generation. But yeah, you can see it in action in that. But I have been really, really impressed by my father's work. I've loved my limited time so far. My father's work, card drafting. There's not card drafting, is there? The scary anime series and my father's work kind of reminds you with an episode with that quote. I haven't seen that series, but it is like that's what I really like about it as well. It is doing that. It is doing that lovely. It's got that lovely theme for it. Do they fill up the bottles with hot glue? What, like the bottles in my father's work? Glitter and hot glue. I was just going to put sand in there. That's what I've got at the moment. I haven't done it yet. They're still just empty. But I did paint the minis. Hey, I finished a game. It had to be a game that's only got like, how many? 24 minis? 6 each? 4 players? But hey, it's I finished a game. No, there is not a solo variant. And I think you can see, I didn't say all of the things, designed by T.C. Petty the Third, and published by Renegade Games. It has been said kind of from the original Kickstarter, no, there is no solo and it's not going to have solo. And more recently, there is a post on there asking about, well, what about co-op as well? And I think it's kind of, I don't know if I'm remembering this correctly, it seemed a bit more hopeful that, like, not absolutely no, never, but not right now. We've only just made the game. Maybe, here we go. There's no chance for solo or co-op. And TC, the designer, is very active in the forums answering questions. It's an app-based game. It's worth mentioning that as well. I should have mentioned that up front. You need an app to play it, and there was some delay with getting the app out, and he's on it with reporting bugs and saying what should be happening and commenting on the different story threads that people have found and stuff. But yeah, no plans at this time. It requires a complete revision from top to bottom, but it is a request. It would be hard to do solo, but yeah, it's the games that do it co-op are designed to be co-op, and this was designed to be, at least in the scenarios so far, there's a lot of kind of, well, not a lot, but depending on the path that we went down, there have been plenty of instances of bid on this thing is happening, vote on this thing, bid on this thing, and you could just have, if the app knew what you were doing, maybe if the app knew how much stuff that you had, then maybe that would work in there. But yeah, I don't know. Like, as far as it is right now, it's a firm like no. It's purely designed to be multiplayer, which is, as I say in my first impression as well, it is like a downside. I understand why it's like that, but it would still, there's still that wishful thinking that, like, it would be lovely if I could play this on my own, because I've only played it with Rach so far. I would like to play it with where's the browser gone? With our friends as a 4-player game, but I think that would go over 3 hours, and if they're not into it and you're playing such a long game, kind of fearful of that. But even if they enjoyed it and stuff, you just kind of think, how often are we going to be able to get that amount of time in there? And it does kind of, well, I will prove to you in a playthrough that you can play it against the glass cat. It is viable, but yeah, the game is made for, it's intended for a multiplayer audience. I've only got through 2 of the games of this. It's spam swatting is taking all of my time off, isn't it? To pack up your copy of My Father's Work before the app became available. Then you're going to have to wait till the end of next year. End of the year to play. Oh, I thought it was next year though. Yeah, I hope you enjoy it when you manage to get onto it. Now I'm going to speed up and not have as much time to talk about the other things. I'll dedicate time. Oathsworn is another thing that kind of I've been going on about since I'm late to the party. I think I've only been talking about it since the beginning of this year. My most anticipated of this year. Another kind of great big adventure. Not an RPG, but an RPG inspired great big cooperative adventure board game. We have been kind of well, I was like peering over the fence, watching people play with it at the UK Games Expo. It looks like a beautiful, enormous, complex adventure thing. I have heard, just kind of raving about it from the people that like have. Is it just kind of content that's been made about it, or have people got it now? I think it's being reviewed, right? It's been not reviewed, received. I think people have got their Kickstarter copies of it now. It's not like generally like dungeon crawly things. I know this isn't necessarily a dungeon crawler, it's like a big adventure game. These kind of things, despite any kind of being generally in the Euro camp, dungeon crawlers and big adventure games do really, really appeal to me. And from what I've heard and the limited bits that I've seen, people seem to be loving it. And it looks like it's going to be available to buy at Gen Con. So yeah, I'll be heading over to Oathsworn. I suppose like I've played My Father's Work and recently. So yeah, I can go on about that a bit more. Hans, you're still waiting for it. Yeah, I can understand, like, part of the thing for me is as well, like, and always remember this, like, I'm sure you do, that, like, My Father's Work, it was, like, a big chunk of it was that people wanted to see a playthrough. That, like, that's kind of my, not get out of jail card, but it's the kind of thing that, like, My Father's Work looks like something that I might really like, but if I don't like it, it's a really expensive thing. You can, with a lot of things, there's a good chance of you selling them on for, a good chunk of what you paid at least. But still, it's kind of like, well, no, that's too much. I'm going to have to leave that, which I've done with tons of games. But like, the thing that kind of I managed to convince myself with is that I can go like, well, there's a playthrough in it. Like, people want to see this, and I would as well. Like, I think there are a couple of playthroughs out there with the prototype from back when it was on Kickstarter. But yeah, I would, like, especially, that's why I keep thinking about things. If I was in the position of, like, do I buy My Father's Work? It sounds great on paper, but is this going to be a thing that I would enjoy? I would want to see, that's kind of why I make the videos, really. Ultimately, the videos that I make are the kind of videos that I would want to watch. Paint the Roses, though. This was a Kickstarter. This is from North Star Games. Haven't they just changed their name to something else? Designed by Ben Goldman. Beautiful art by Jackie Davis. This is on here, basically, another kind of... What's a dog whistle but a good thing? What's that? The thing that pricks up my ears, reading the word deduction on a game. Competitive deduction, if it works solo, I'm up for that. But generally, yeah, competitive, like, deduction, the people that play with aren't so keen on it, which is fair enough. But logic puzzles and deduction and stuff, I am well up for. This is a multiplayer one. I don't think it's solo compatible, is it? No, it's not. But it is cooperative. We are in the world of Alice in Wonderland. We are the newly appointed royal gardeners working together to finish the palace grounds according to the whims of the Queen of Hearts. Use strategy, logic and teamwork to finish the garden while staying one step ahead of the Queen. Otherwise, the last thing you hear will be off with their heads. The Queen's whims are shared via cards. Secret instructions each player is given into how the garden should be arranged. Her whims are always changing, so as soon as you solve one, a new one is in your hand. Of course, you can't discuss those secret things, but you've got to share theories about the other players and what they are trying to achieve. Looks absolutely gorgeous as well. Like, I don't know, like, lovely pieces. But if we just get a look at just kind of the board and stuff, I think it looks lovely. Yeah, really looking forward to that. And that's going to be, I keep trying to guess this. This is the list of games that are meant to be available. So yeah, that's going to be available from North Star Games, and I forget the new name. It's like North Star Design or something like that. It's only a little bit different. You'll be able to find them, I'm sure. So that's Paint the Roses. Next up, hey Frederick, how's it going? Oh, thanks for activating all of the Patreon bots and everything. Next up, from AEG and designed by John D. Clare of, among many things at this point, Mystic Vale fame. Ready, Set, Bet. Probably off the heels of, I'm not talking about the design, I'm talking about, for me, my interest, hot off the heels of enjoying Longshot the dice game so much, and being into like more horse racing and betting and stuff. This is a horse racing, betting, real-time game. So the one thing that I kind of think, it is compatible for 2 players, so there must be a way. You know, I haven't looked into all of the rules and stuff and how that works. It's a kind of thing that I've been thinking, this sounds really cool, but maybe it's going to be better, you know, when we've got a group. Maybe it's going to be a higher player kind of thing. Maybe it's going to have to go into the boxes with, you know, like Wits and Wages and stuff, the high player count games that at this point have not been played for several years. But one day we will play Wits and Wages again. There is a horse race going on. One player is rolling dice, controlling this horse race. All of the other players in real time are betting, taking, you know, objective cards, doing all sorts of things according to the race that is happening. There's some set collection stuff that's going on. So yeah, I wonder how that is going to work with 2 players, because is it going to be that one's controlling the horse and one's just doing the betting? Or is there going to be like another system for that? Yeah, we'll play it over 4 rounds. Each round consists of a race, followed by bet resolution. During each race, players freely place their bet tokens on the board while the race is going on. Maybe the person controlling the race is betting as well. After each race, players win or lose money for each of their placed bet tokens and then receive a VIP club card to help them win more money in the following races. After 4 rounds, the player with the most money wins. You can see there's various... if we can get a good shot of the board that we're betting on there, it seems like a lovely, daft laugh kind of quick playing, high player count game. Yeah, 45 minutes to an hour. Yeah, I think that's hopefully going to be a lot of fun, but we'll see, won't we? It's one of these things that, like, all of these games that are available to buy, I assume they're available to demo as well. So if you are at Gen Con, let us know. Was it good? Sagrada, expansion time. There have been... Is it 2 or 3 mini expansions to Sagrada at this point? There is a brand new one coming along. You know, at some point in the mystic future, I have no information about this other than the fact that, which you can see in various places as well, there is a legacy Sagrada on its way in, you know, the sands of time, which I cannot wait for. But yeah, Sagrada is a fantastic dice drafting. I was going to say dice placement, but it's dice drafting, isn't it? And then trying to arrange it to make beautiful stained glass windows. Still, after all this time, when did Sagrada come out? 2015? 2016? 2017? No, wasn't right in either of the guesses. Yeah, still, 5 years on, absolutely love it. Not that I've played it lately. We need to correct that. And hey, an expansion is going to do that. So yeah, there are these small box expansions. We get new strife dice available in addition to the drafting pool with restrictions on their placement. New objectives with pioneer cards. Be rewarded for your unique style with the private objectives in the flourish module. Basically, I want excuses to go back to Sagrada and stuff to give me the time to go back to it and make another playthrough. Have I done, like, unfortunately Steve couldn't make the chat. Couldn't make the stream today. He would be telling me right now, yeah, you did a playthrough of Sagrada way back when. I can't remember. I've made a lot of videos and stuff. I feel like I did. I must have, right? I was making videos. There we go, I saw it. I saw the old thumbnail style. There he is. Let's sit here and watch it. No, I did make a playthrough for it. But hey, oh, it was a 2-player game. We never did the solo mode. Hey. I don't know how much attention that would get in the vote, but maybe we'll put that in. I have had a request. The vote is on Tuesday, by the way, for August, for the Patreon. I have had a request to put on a Stefan Feld game. I'm not sure which one yet. Let me know if there's a particular one you want to see. Not any of the new ones. I haven't got them. But yeah, there's been a request for a return of a Feld. Any other requests you have as well, let me know. I'll put them in the vote. Yes, there is a Legacy Sagrada coming. All that, like, I haven't got any, like, details or pictures or anything of that, but we did chat a bit to, like, I've seen it announced somewhere. It might have been a while ago, but we chatted to Ian of Floodgate Games, and he just basically reiterated that yes, it is on the way at some point, and there will be, you know, permanent things you are colouring in your stained glass windows. Not much to go off, but it's just more Sagrada. I'm excited. The people behind Point Salad are making Point City. Oh yeah, I don't think that's on the preview just yet. I don't know if it's going to be at Gen Con, but yeah, that's just been announced that they're making a new game. Save Patient Zero. Oh, the picture just says Patient Zero. Designed by Cedric Martinez and published by Helvetic. This is another one that jumped out at me because deduction. Now, the normal game, this does play solo. The normal game is playing against each other, teams playing against each other, I think. Each lab employs 1 or 2 scientists, i.e. players, while another player plays a lab computer named Savvy. So there's teams of players and then a lab player that's working against everyone. I'm not sure how excited I am about that part. Maybe it's really, really cool, though. I would like to give it a try, but I saw that even if that didn't work, it's compatible solo. So that means, we'll be able to work together and stuff, and it would be, like, if it works solo, it's surely that option will work for 2 players as well. You're trying to use lab tools in the best sequence possible to identify the 3 molecules out of 25 that make the antidote. They're in a 5x5 grid on your worksheet. At the start of the game, Savvy, the computer lab, looks at the top 3 cards in the deck and sets them aside. They are the molecules that everyone else must identify. On a turn, each lab submits a card to show what they want to do in the round, and there's a load of different actions, drawing cards from the deck, putting devices to highlight different bits of your grid, and you'll find out how many of those are the right things and if they're in the right order and stuff. It sounds like a beautiful, logic-y, mastermind-esque kind of thing. To play as a 2-player game, each lab draws 3 from the deck, and the opposing so each player in a 2-player game knows the 3 things that the other lab has got to find out. Oh, that would be interesting. But it doesn't say how it works in solo, but yeah, the player count is for 1 as well. It's available. Hey, someone's selling it. What? Oh, it's Kickstarter. Yeah, it's another one where my first introduction to it has been on the Gen Con preview. And next up, Skymines. Basically, Alexander Pfister has got a new game out. Let's check that out. I think it's maybe in limited quantities, just started making its way over here. It will be available to buy at Gen Con. And I think Paul over at Gaming Rules has done a playthrough, right? Or is about to do a playthrough this weekend. He's got a copy of it, as well as, not to leave him out, as well as being designed by Alexander Pfister. It is also designed by Victor Kobilk. I do apologise. And published by Pegasus Spiel and others in different languages. So this is, I don't think quite, like it says at the top, like it's a re-implementation of Mombasa that I don't remember very much. Like aside from, questionable theme-wise, I played it once when it came out at the Game Group, because I think it was Mombasa a 3-player plus game, or it didn't work very well too. Again, I'm trying to remember. We played it when it came out, when we used to have a local game shop, and we used to go to its Game Group. And I remember enjoying it, but I very vaguely remember it at this point, unfortunately. But yeah, this is a re-implementation of it. So we are now on the moon. 50 years ago, humanity began mining the moon and the asteroids, and for decades the task was firmly kept in the hands of the world government. But the turmoils of recent years have caused this enterprise to collapse. Now adventurous companies and private investors take to the sky to revive this mining network. As investors, you try to earn the most crypt coin over the course of 7 rounds by investing in mined resources in the companies and spreading their outposts. You can improve your earnings by supporting your scientists' research and having them collect precious helium-3. The heart of Skymines is a unique card programming and hand management system that requires careful and clever planning. It provides deep player interaction by letting you invest in any of the 4 companies as you see fit. And as the combination of company abilities changes each game, there are endless synergies and strategies to explore. Sounds good. I'm interested. Oh, and it plays solo now as well. So there is another addition since Mombasa. Looking forward to Skymines. You never tried Mombasa. Paul has done a playthrough. I wonder if he's doing another one, or I'm just getting the weeks mixed up. But yeah, you can check out Paul Grogan on the Gaming Rules channel. Has this and has played through it, and it'll go on my scary watch list. I was watching Paul actually play Marvel Champions last night, and I realised that I need to watch a different Marvel Champions video because I don't remember it enough to watch the playthrough that I was watching. I was enjoying it, but kind of in a I don't really know what's going on kind of way. I need to go back to an earlier one, reacquaint myself. Hey Chachki, how's it going? Oh, thank you. So yes, that is Skymines. Next up is another one brand new to me, Sink or Swim. Now, caveat, I know I'm a solo stroke 2-player focused thing, and this is a 3+ player game. So this should have been one of the things that in the bulk tabletop together tool thing, this should have been excluded to begin with. But theme. Monica, do you know about this? You're looking for swimming themed games, right? It's synchronized swimming, right? Is it not? So this is a real-time game, an app-based game as well. We're showing the app, the cards that we are playing. One of the things that's kind of jumped out to me at the start, this is designed by Divya and Lucas Hedgren. And Lucas, I remember, as the designer of Subdivision, which I did a playthrough for, definitely, long ago. And I think, is it in my, most overlooked or underrated games, whatever that top 10 list was called? Subdivision is kind of thematically zooming in on a tile of suburbia, and it's a beautiful puzzle game, worked beautifully solo and multiplayer. Look at this beautiful thing. I know I'm supposed to be talking about Sink or Swim, but yeah, Subdivision is probably out there. You can probably find it still. It's brilliant. Yeah, Sink or Swim. We're doing, you want swimming back and forth, not doing synchronized swimming. Okay. So yeah, inspired by real-life synchronized swimming, Sink or Swim focuses on teamwork, collaboration, and communication. Each round, teammates plan the perfect routine while taking direction from the team captain. The clock starts, and players start trading, placing, and diving for cards to get their performance just right. As your team progresses through each round, the routines become more challenging and throw all sorts of twists your way. At the end of each round, the free app judges your performance based on your timing and accuracy. You and your friends will discover creative tactics for better strategies and scores each time you play. So while, for whatever reason, there's a couple of previews and stuff available for it as well. It was now shipping. It's just started shipping about, probably just in the States at the moment. But hey, that's where Gen Con is. That's all right, isn't it? Yeah, kind of. Because of my love for Subdivision, I've dived into this. But I do love co-op games. I love real-time games as well. I don't know that the people that I play with love real-time games as much. But yeah, it sounds like a cool, different kind of real-time game as well. I'm interested to see how the app is judging us based on what we're doing. But yeah, Sink or Swim. Chlorination was the racing swimming game, wasn't it? I'm sure it'll be back. I hope so. Euthia came back. I had faith in that. Turing Machine. If you are seeing a theme going through some of these games, this is by is it the designers? Oh, it says right up here, the studios, next game. From Decrypto, which, yeah, we haven't really had much situation to play, but I do want to play it one day. It looks like a fun party game. Turing Machine is a competitive deduction game, but it also works solo. So even if it doesn't work for me competitively, I get to play it solo. Where we are trying to find a secret code. But there is one of the things that kind of attracted it to me was that there's this kind of analog computer thing going on. Is it kind of, can you see it too much on here? Or is there an app that we can get a load of things? Throughout the combinations of all of these cards, and yeah, there's in that box there, the various tabs and stuff and these cards, there is some kind of analog computer system here that you will use to question a machine and find out the secret code. That is straight away from that, it's you've got an analog computer in your game. I love that. Oh, here we go. You're questioning a proto-computer that works without any sort of technology. So there we go. Even some of these app-based games, app-based deduction games that I've raved about, if you haven't been into your apps, here is one that does it without a player needing to be the answer giver. And without an app. Find the secret code before the other players by cleverly questioning the machine. With Turing Machine, you'll use an analog computer with unique components made of never-before-seen perforated cards. I've just seen them. The game offers more than 7 million problems, from simple to mind-staggeringly complex combinations, making the gameplay practically endless. In the original competitive mode, you can combine your brain power... Oh, brilliant. There's a competitive mode, or we can work together cooperatively, or you can beat the game solo. Sounds great. I am completely up for that. Not as much... Oh, there's a rulebook on it as well. But yeah, no videos as of yet, but this is apparently going to be available at Gen Con. I would be all over this, as I would be, all of these things, if I was there and I could afford them all. And then finally, the 11th game of this top 10, my father's work was the extra one, is Village Rails, coming from Osprey Games and designers Matthew Dunstan and Brett Gilbert. I know they've designed a billion things, and I keep going on about Elysium. I said this last time I was talking about one of their games. This is a card game where, if we can look at all of this, there's loads of components. It looks beautiful, but don't worry, it's not this complicated. You have a lovely little frame that's got the startings of some tracks and some different types of terrain and stuff. You have a little wheel counting your score, and then you have an enormous deck of cards. On one side of the cards is the tracks themselves and different types of terrain, and on the other side of those cards, forming a different display, is a load of kind of scoring criteria, and you can buy those scoring criteria cards, and you can get the track cards into your grid. There's going to be a grid of like 12 cards, I think it is, that you'll be laying these track pieces down to create. But you can put, I think, up to 2 cards on the outside of the row or column, judging you based on, you know, different types of terrain, or you want the same thing, or you want loads of this symbol or that symbol going on there, or you want it to be made up of, you want this track to end really quickly. There's tons and tons of things like that. And then whenever you finish one of your lines, you have a hand of cards to play that will reward you with money based on various criteria that that track has. So you are trying to line up the most points from those scoring cards, trying to get the most income, so you'll be able to buy the best stuff, because it's like there's you know, the displays of these cards, so you don't have to necessarily pay to get all of them, but you have to pay for every card that you're skipping. You like put money on them to make it more attractive for someone next turn as well. And it's got a nice tagline, I think: a game of locomotives and local motives. Yeah, you can check out their, you know, at this point, huge oeuvre. Is that the right word? Of designs on Board Game Geek, both separately and together. Hey, you can look at Matthew Dunstan and Rory Muldoon have designed Aquamarine and Voyages, the print and play rolling rights. That you can see it's on Kickstarter still now. But yeah, I know enough about this one. I won't read the description, but I think you can see. Are there any videos of it yet? Oh, I think there we go. Tom Vassal's done a review of it. Tom Vassal's got one. When could we expect to hear more about it? Yeah, hopefully. You know, Osprey is in England, so hopefully that makes its way here soon, but it will be at Gen Con next week for you to get. And I think that is all of the games that I'm going to be speaking about. I will give you, though, I'll put this in the description of the video, if I can scroll back to my very first tab. Here we go. I think this should work. If I give you that, does that work? It should take you to this page here that you can see. This is that list. So it says on the top as well, like, it's my Gen Con list. Need means it was in the top 10. Want means it's all the games that weren't in the top 10, because you can only have 10 games, or 12 or so if you're me. And like means it's not, you know, I don't like them as much as the want ones. It means I've covered them in the past. So just know that. And it tells you all of those. And sometimes somewhere there's a little note for that I made as I was reading through the various bits of things. Castles by the Sea, Co-op Santorini? Question mark. Catherine, looks lovely and Euro-y to me. You can see all sorts of helpful things like that as you go through it. But yeah, there's like, I don't know, like 60 or so. There's loads more games that are, yeah, there's 64 more games that are marked down as want that I'd be interested in checking out that didn't quite make a top 10, even when you do 2 top 10s in one go. Hey Carlo, how's it going? When this game comes out, it's going to sink or swim. Sink or swim game. E10 by Village Rails E10 by James. It looks pretty good. But there we go. That is all happening at Gen Con next week. You can check out, and as well, you know, there's hundreds of games that, you know, for whatever reason, on this list, and there's still a week to go. I think something just got announced as I was starting this. What was going to be on there? It's the there's like a follow up to Ganymede that's gonna be there now that I just saw like on Facebook or something as I was like coming on here. It's not on the list yet, but yeah, there's plenty to look at, plenty of great things to play and buy if you're into it, and you can go to Gen Con and hey, let us know what it's like. Let us know which ones I should be most excited about. Hopefully, a lot of these will wing their way over here quickly. But you never know, do you? Sometimes it takes a while. And yeah, remember, it's not on the preview yet, but Fuse Countdown. This is one that I only kind of added at the very last second as designer Kane Klenko let it in the chat. I would love to, but that's basically what I would be racing for at Gen Con. But you know now, you could be at Gen Con and you could be there checking it out. If Fuse is your thing, of course. I'm going to be checking it out at some point. My budget for purchases is zero. My budget doesn't even stretch to the plane. I'm not going, unfortunately. I would love to. But yeah, I am just here, sitting in my bunker, just imagining a world where I'm there and checking out games. Your poor wallet, yeah, exactly. I mean, what are the... So we only looked at the... Oh, no, not all. We don't need to look at all. It's logged me out. Hang on. What's gone on? I wanted to get the value of all the games I've marked as need. So all the games that were in the top 10. Can't get it back. Where is it? There it is. You can go on... So if we go on all the games I marked as need, so that was 11 games, wasn't it? All the games as need. Don't include the demos, because you can't buy them. Then click filter. So the 11 games in my top 10, $495. I mean, yeah, in a perfect world, if all the games I want, exclude the demos, Agricola 50 is going to be there. Exclude the demos. This is the trouble with board games, isn't it? It mounts up quickly. Another $1,800? Yikes. Longboard. No. I think there are some Knizia games on there, but yeah, you can click on the link and you can see all of the other ones that I put in the want list for now. I'm sure it'll change, and I'd like to. Like, I don't know if we'll have time, but I'd like to do another Essen stream at some point where we go through like a load more things, or we go through. I like just going through the list as well and seeing all of these things in real time and seeing the things that I'm meant to pick up. Why is it? So, well, I'd say $500 for a top 11. Like $50 a game is probably like average, really. But they're all like, there's some quite pricey games and some little filler games. Like Kites is a little quick game, $20. My Father's Work is an expensive, bespoke, huge box, is $125. Oathsworn, I think, is like a Gloomhaven-y looking thing. But yeah, I won't go through all of that. You can check out, and Ready Set Bet hasn't got a price, so that wasn't even included in all of that. A couple of them haven't. But hey, inflation, eh? It's scary in many, many ways. Essen streams, you get really just, yeah, that's my time to shine. Although, I don't know if I'm going, I might end up being jealous of myself there as well. For now, though, I will go. Let's see, what more is there? Tonight, there will be the next episode of Eldritch Horror, which I think, you know, I'm biased. I made the playthrough and I'm pretty in love with Eldritch Horror, which I am discovering for the first time around about now. I think it's a really good playthrough as well. And just in terms of watching, I was enjoying watching it back, and usually not a fan of hearing my voice back. But yeah, I think it's a fun story. And yeah, episode 2 of that is going up. On Sunday, the Carnegie playthrough will go up. There is early stuff just about ready to go up on Patreon. There'll be plenty of stuff. Next week is packed already. I've been doing the schedule a bit early, and there's like 6 things next week. There's so many things. But yeah, I hope you enjoy all of that. It's only possible thanks to Patreon and Ko-fi. Thank you so much for watching in general, but especially if you can help support the channel in that way. It's the reason it exists. And yeah, thank you for all that you do. Yeah, I'm really excited by that Like the Jurassic World Legacy game, it is, it's a licensed thing. It's a legacy game that's probably designed, it's not going to be a really heavy, game, is it? It's probably going to be a lighter, maybe dafter thing. But I would like to play it. I think, is it 2-player? I won't go back and look. But yeah, all of those things. The Meadow expansion, yeah, that's on my list. That's on in the want section, I think. Yeah, that didn't quite make it into the top 10 because I have to be harsh. But yes, thank you everyone for being here. There's loads of stuff coming up in short. Thank you for making it possible and for spending some time with me tonight. And I will see you all very, very soon. Bye, everyone.